If you played Modern Warfare 2019 for any length of time, then Modern Warfare 2 should feel very familiar, the direct sequel in every facet possible, while also taking the time to explore new and interesting experiences for both single-player and multiplayer aspects of the game. Right now, that's kind of all we have: campaign, multiplayer, and a few Spec Ops missions for us to mess around with. The real meat and potatoes, Warzone and DMZ, are not out yet. They'll be arriving in a couple weeks. I think it's like the 8th of November if I recall correctly. I could be wrong on that. So for now, this is all we have to judge the game on. Realistically, anyone who's going to talk about Call of Duty should wait until these modes are in the game before giving a score of any kind, but we know that's not how this industry works. It should, but it doesn't sadly, so I'll begrudgingly play along. We know what to expect from Warzone, but DMZ has my interest fully piqued, and I hope it delivers an interesting take on extraction-based shooters. But we won't know until it launches. In the meantime, how's the new COD? It's complicated. It's got issues, but overall, I'm happy with the 30-second loop of the game, at least in regards to multiplayer. The campaign was very enjoyable as well, and a standout for me personally was the music. It's a step up from the last few games, because I can't remember any of the music except from the OG games. And I wasn't incredibly impressed from the COD event showcase of Warzone. I might be in the minority here, but Warzone has always been marred for me personally by not allowing the players to tell a story with a gun they find and having to build it from the ground up with attachments like other BRs, especially Blackout. The loadout system is interesting, but it's very short-lived once you know how to get money and farm money for drops for the loadouts. It gets boring really fast. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Multiplayer. It's fun. Most of the time. Right off the bat, the guns feel pretty good to use, even stock, which is saying something because in Call of Duty, and even Battlefield's history, what usually sucks the fun out of those experiences is having to unlock basic attachments to make some of the weapons function at an even competent level. In Modern Warfare 2, most of them are actually fairly strong out of the gate. The AKs are the most notable example. The 7.62, the 5.45, the AKS, the little one, they all feel really fun and are pretty powerful. Their iron sights are simple, so the need for an optic is lessened. Their damage is very consistent, and overall, I feel as though those weapons, at least in the assault rifle category, are safe bets if you're looking for something reliable to use as you level up and earn more weapons. Speaking of, earning weapons is perhaps the most interesting it's ever been in Call of Duty. In this game, some weapons are simply unlocked when you meet the level requirement. Easy enough. However, guns are now tied to others in regards to their lower receivers, but to make this a little easier to explain, I like to say the guns are grouped into families. The M4 has a family of different 5.56 weapons. All of the AKs are in the same family, and so on. Now, if you want the M16, you need to unlock the 5.56 LMG, and then use that to a certain weapon level, which gives you access to the M16. If you want the little AK, the AKS-74, you need to unlock the 5.45 AK and use that for a little while. But in order to get that gun, you need to use the 7.62 AK, which you just unlock at level 23. It sounds really confusing, I know, but if you look at the menu for maybe 10 minutes, it actually starts to make sense. And the game tries to explain that to the player with this weapon tree screen, but it kind of falls flat. Not to mention, it's littered with bugs, which brings me to my biggest complaint with Modern Warfare 2. The overwhelming number of little bugs that, when added all together, completely ruin the experience of the game. This game, on launch, has so many goddamn bugs, glitches, and things in the game that shouldn't be there. It is baffling. Not really because it's Activision, but you know what I mean. I hope someone online is keeping track somewhere because there's just too many to count. I can try to rapid fire off some here, but I won't be able to get all of them. So, your chosen operator you want to showcase doesn't show up no matter how many times you try to change it. Your rank can always be shown as level 1 even though you play and are a much higher level. Post-game XP always says 0, so you have no idea how much XP you've actually earned. Calling cards, emblems, and other showcase items do not function as needed. The weapon tree screen won't track your cursor correctly and moves the screen too early so you can't see the later unlocked items. You can get stuck in an infinite loop of searching for a match unless you reload the game or switch to something like Ground War and play a match so the search resets. And right now, the tuned weapon feature is currently removed from the game because it crashes for some people. And probably my favorite bug that I've seen personally is one for this optional skin for an operator. Doesn't show like the portrait of the character. No. It shows a character from Modern Warfare 2019. I think his name is Isaac. He's an Australian guy. That alone makes me question how much of this game is built potentially on an older 2019 build or something like that. It's crazy. Again, there's so many more as well, but I feel as though that kind of gets the point across with how many bugs are in this friggin' game right now. But to be honest, these don't break the game, it functions, and the 30-second loop is still enjoyable and the COD we all enjoy. But it's still extremely disappointing when you want to do something really simple and the game just freaks out, can't figure out what to do. And to be honest, the UI for a lot of the menus is gross. Doesn't make sense, it's not coherent, it's very clunky. Going from one menu to another, I feel as though I might go too fast and the game's just gonna crash, which it has for me, twice, back to back. It's frustrating when I just want the game I paid $75 for because next-gen tax is here and here to stay, unfortunately, to function as it should. For most people, they might not have run into these issues, and I hope so, because that's cool. But I see them everywhere, and as I've said in the past, it's the little things that matter most sometimes, and these are indeed little things, but when added up together, sours the experience as a whole. My hope is that these issues are known and get fixed sooner rather than later, but I think what bugs me the most is performance with this game. This is kind of difficult to explain, but when I play Modern Warfare 2, every so often, my screen will flicker, either just a pure white image or some other kind of image for maybe a frame, 2 frames max. So it happens really quickly, but it's constant. Don't know if it's an FOV thing, a driver thing, or again, just a bug in the game that others might be experiencing as well. But it's probably the thing that bothers me the most with this game. On top of that, I have constant game stutters every once in a while, which manifest either as an actual freezing of the game for a moment, or moments where my character looks like they are rubber banding ever so slightly to a previous position because they're running so fast. I know this might be hard to imagine to what I'm explaining, but if anyone else has had this happen, then you know what I'm talking about. And I have a decent PC too. I've got a 3060, 32 gigs of RAM, an i9 processor. It's not my frame rate or the game looking like crap or my computer not literally being able to play the game. It's solid, but it's something I think deeper and I can't really figure it out, and it's again really frustrating to say the least. Modern Warfare 2 is more of the same from 2019, which isn't a bad thing because I myself really enjoyed that multiplayer experience. I put a decent amount of time into it and most likely will do the same for this game. There's enough new here to keep players happy while we wait for Season 1 and the 2 huge modes to be released. My hope is that these issues I've experienced and that others most likely have experienced as well get addressed by the team and the game gets better from here. Because very much like 2019, the foundation and gameplay are really solid. I may have some things to say about how people play the game, but the core loop of the game is excellent. I didn't touch on the new perk system, but it's alright. 2 perks always active and you earn 2 more over the course of a match. Kind of interesting, but what confuses me is why earn them when you can join a game late and have them already unlocked so you don't lag behind other people in a match. Could have been done a different way, but I mean, at least they tried something new, I guess, you know? But those bugs, those glitches, those issues are not to be ignored by anyone who has happened upon them. It mars the game for everybody, and it's a damn shame it's happening in the first place because we all know it shouldn't. So Modern Warfare 2 is a good game with better bones, but the relationship between it and myself is complicated to say the least. The little things may not matter as much to you, which is fine, but to me, they are just as, if not more important than the rest of the game. I just hope it gets smoothed out over time and the game flourishes into a COD we all want it to be. If you have any impressions and experiences of the game or bugs of your own you'd like to share, please leave a comment down below and be sure to subscribe for more videos and new games and topics we all find interesting. I hope to see you in future ones.